All right, so welcome again to the Logan's Hour. Today program is going to be a little different. It ain't going to be as usual. Uh, Today going to be direct with my dear brother and friend, Honorable Rich W. Basigia. So I want to say to every one of you following me here tonight, I want to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on which part of the world you are. And today's another edition of the Logan's Hour. And today will be the Honorable Rich W. Basigia. He will be the host of today's program. And in conversation today, he will have with him Mr. Jeremiah Saleh, the NEC chairperson. He will be in studio here with Mr. Rich W. Basigia. Today, I'm not in my studio because I was a little far. But don't miss today's conversation because the newly uh, appointed chairman, Mr. Jeremiah Saleh, he will be here today and he's going to give you all of the latest. So all you need to do is to join the conversations today and let's talk about issues. And I ain't going to be here as I stated, so it's just going to be Mr. Saleh and Mr. Basigia. You all know Mr. Basigia. He's also a tough talking person too. He's a politician. He knows the way around. So I'm saying to all of you out there, please, please, please share this program tonight. Share this program with anybody you know who live in the Liberian community in Indianapolis and wanting to be part of this conversation tonight. Share this program with them because it's important for us to know about our electoral process in Indianapolis. And it's important for us to also know what is going on with our community. So, to all of you out there tonight, I want to say Mr. Rich W. Basigia and Mr. Jeremiah Saleh, they're going to be here and they'll be having a very fruitful and interactive discussion. I will, when they join me shortly, I will leave today's program with you people with Mr. Rich Basigia and Mr. Jeremiah Slade. Both of them going to be here with the conversation. As soon as they join me, just going to just log out and leave the both of them in studio. And you people can just sit to be entertained. I must say I'm going to be following the show as well because everybody know the scientists, the talking Jeremiah Slade. So Jeremiah Slade going to be here today. So I can rest assure you. And just in before they come in, because I know a lot of people when they come in are going to be out of here. So I just want to talk about some of my commercials I always talk about quick, just shortly. So the Carrot Tabernacle of Praise, and our sister got her hair salon store. So she sell beauty products and all the beauty supplies you need. So don't forget to at least go purchase from your own Liberian sister. So before we join Mr. Jeremiah Saleh and Mr. Riz Basigia, let's get some commercials, please. Thank you.
Hey, beautiful ladies of Indianapolis. Are you looking for a beauty place where you can buy all your latest human hairs and other beauty accessories? Look no more. The MD Beauty Salon, located at 3429 Kentucky Avenue, is just that right spot for all your beauty needs. At MD's, our customers' satisfaction is our foremost priority. Our staffs are friendly and accommodating. Contact us today on 317-360-2624. MD Beauty Salon, your one-stop shop for all your beauty needs. And hey, ladies, when you get there, tell Mariette that the girl is sexy.
So, like I stated, right, that was just a little short commercial. So I got my guys are propping up. I can see from the backstage, I seen the Honorable Rich W. Basigia, who's about to put this community on fire with the newly appointed Election Commission chairman. And I know the chairman also, he's going through his little rundown because he know the person who's going to interview him tonight is not no small to this thing. He's somebody who well seasoned, who has served in other capacities, who knows the dynamics of politics. So tonight's conversation is going to be very fruitful. We ask all of our people to join us tonight as we have this all fruitful conversation that talks about our community and talks about all the relevant issues of our community. So we look forward to having all of our community people, even those from the administration, Honorable Rufus, Tati, and the rest of the other folks, and even from the board member perspective and the other board members as well, if they want to be part of this conversation, they can also join their colleague, Mr. Jeremiah Saleh. So, like I stated, I will be leaving the studio shortly. Mr. Riggs W. Basigia will be in charge. So he will be driving you through until Mr. Jeremiah Saleh can come in. So let me just talk about one of my other commercial here. Then I will be out of this studio here tonight and leave Mr. Riggs W. Basigia um, in. And anyway, when we come back, we'll talk about it. We want to talk about the Librarian Association, the Judah 26 celebration that is coming up. So not to prolong the whole thing, I'm just going to get out of the studio right now, and Mr. Riz Basiki are going to take over from what I stopped. And trust me.
Good afternoon, my people. How everybody doing? It is important to be on here. I guess everybody hearing me on the Logan's Hour. We will be going through several things, inclusive of the coming elections. We will be speaking with the chairman of the Elections Commission of LAI. It is my understanding that the current president, Rufus Tati, has appointed a court of officers and been commissioned by the assembly. I know there was a meeting held, the general meeting held on Sunday, which of course our members were present. And the names of elections commissions, that is along with that stuff. I've been watching and hearing a lot of people talking about the elections. I mean, I think 2 years ago, we were talking about elections in the same community. And it was bruising. Some people got hurt. Some people got in the feelings. Some people got discouraged about the elections. But that's elections. When you go to elections, there are results. The results comes along with consequences. And people must accept democracy. In spite of results, people must learn to live together. And the President Rufus Tati has tried very hard to make sure he lived to the constitutional duties of what he was elected for. And so the mandate and power vested in him, he nominated several names. Amongst these names, I saw Emerson as a young man too. I mean, they got a lot of young people on this elections committee. I saw Emerson, if I'm pronouncing his name well, but the chairman will call his full list when he gets on. We hope to get the chairman on in the soonest time. But before we go to the elections, you know what's happening in the community. A lot of engagement has been going on. A lot of important things. People has been engaged with each other, sharing views, interacting logically, positively to see the community moving forward. It is important to know that vividly we've seen some connections of where we're from, who we are, and where we want to go as people. We cannot keep the community idle because of some people's feelings or because of how others feel about the leaders, the current leaders. We have to come together as one people. We have to live together as one people. Despite where you're from, your tribes, despite where you're from, your origin, despite where you're from, your intellect, despite where you're from, whether you're an illiterate, despite where you're from, whether you're an illiterate. So I want to speak to the mind of the young people, or the mind of the elders, the mind of our women, the minds of our sisters, the minds of our daughters. There are several things happening that we all always have to look ahead. We have to forge ahead. We have to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is Liberia. We were Liberians first before we flew to the United States. We were Liberians first before we built ourselves together in union. We were Liberians first before we started to engage as one family. We were Liberians first before we thought about proceeding to several of the other elections that we have had. The elections that brought former President Alvin Pena. I didn't win that election, but I got feedbacks from that election. And I know amongst people in the community, they have said a lot of good things about the Alvin's leadership. And they got transitioned over to Rufus Tati. And Rufus Tati is doing his best. He got his court of officers, he got his team, he got his people who are always supporting him. More besides, he has the Liberian community, the community that he served, the community that he made himself available, for lack of a better word, vulnerable to a lot of different negativities and feedbacks, positive words. A lot of different things have been said, but he stood his ground. One thing in leadership is to have the thickest of skin. I have seen that before, and I know you have the thickest of skin. And that shows the way of which you're going to lead people positively and to success. There are agendas. If you come to the elections or come to the community elections as a president, and you have an agenda or a manifesto that you have to work with, and you look through your manifesto, you know the importance of your manifesto. You have to adhere to your manifesto. You have to show the importance of your manifesto. That is something grave, and it's a burden on you to deliver. And we can outrightly say that the current leadership have delivered on everything that they promised. They talk about reconciliation. There's still a big gap in the community. People still having a lot of hulu value. People still having a lot of different feelings about each other, especially those who contested in the elections. And that was a very big task of the leadership. And I'm not really sure as to whether that leadership, the current leadership succeeded in that. They got a few months to go. And I know within a few months, they still got time on their hands so that they can work within that time to see whether they can bridge the gaps. However, I know they talk about having an office space, and I have visited the office space. That was a big boost for the leadership. Leadership did extremely well. The Rufus Tatis leadership did extremely well on that. They got an office. The past leadership did not have that. So I think that was an improvement in the community. And so we got an office right now for the Liberian community, well functioning. And it is actively running. I know there where the meeting was held. And there were several other things that they talk about: outreaching, engaging with their community, bridging the gaps between the elders and the young people. These things are, they are trying to get the way out. We still feel the vibes of 13 months ago elections that were held. We still feel the vibes. We still think some people still in the political electionary mood. And they are thought about the process. It might have been a quick fix, but 2 years, man, 2 years. 2 years is not just something that you think you can just get it done, because there are several things on the docket. Something will arise and you have to work on them. Some things will come like an emergency and you also have to work on them. So howbeit, it is important to know that we're going to elections. His time expires soon. The leadership terms expire soon. And my understanding that they have a timeline. And I don't want to jump the gun. The Elections Commission will come and tell us his timeline. He's gonna come and tell us what were the shortfalls of the past Elections Commission that might have brought some bad feelings. What were some of the shortfalls of the past Elections Commission that they have to remodel the current Elections Commission? Why it is important that at this time, in the eve of a transition, that a community president would believe in his ability to chair, a critically stringent community like the area. And so we will be going across the line and giving him the benefit of the doubts, giving us his bullet points, giving us his timetable, what he expects of the elections, why it is important for people to gather together to go to elections, what would be the voter role, and what different characteristics he brings to the process, what the standards are. I mean, these are things that we will want to hear from Jeremiah City. And I hope he's in a position as things arises will be giving us, giving the LDI several of information that they need, because the people need the information, they deserve it. And so as important as it is as to him for his job, though he's volunteering, it is also important to the community that they have to get this information, because they feed on this information to get zealot to go to elections. Whether there will be a webed up of the voter roll, whether they're going to look at the voter roll and see where the bad apples are, whether they're going to revisit the voter roll and see and check on the names that are not to be on the list, names that are to be on the list, whether the Elections Commission will come up with a short listing, giving us the benefit of the doubt on their own standards, how they're going to work it out. These are things we need to know. The community needs to know, because it is important. And how far the outreach of the elections team, are they going to reach out to Noblesville and other communities, giving them the benefit of the doubt in terms of how they're going to do their ad, in terms of how they're going to explain the messaging? How are they going to make the people come out to vote? What role they're going to play? They're going to encourage the Liberians here to stand on the line to vote a new leader. This is what we want to hear from Mr. City. And it is important that we all know that. It is important that Liberians know that. So tonight, I know some people will come on, talk the politics, which is important. And I believe that energy should be reserved for elections period, campaign period, where everyone will be energized, where a lot of citizens, especially the zealous young people, will be energized, cross-cutting each other, coming across each other with different knowledge and different characteristics with the potential they have. So it is important. And as we were explaining, to give you the differences between past leadership and current leadership, the chairman of the Elections Commission, Bob, which is important. Mr. Jeremiah K. City Sr., you are welcome.
Thank you. You hear me?
Can you please, yeah, I'm hearing you. Can you please introduce yourself to your audience? First, we want to know your academic credentials.
Oh, okay. A lot of people in India know me, maybe for my extended viewers out of Indianapolis. But again, I'm Mr. Jeremiah Casely. I am humbled to be appointed and elected by Honorable Rufus Tati as a chair of the upcoming elections, as well as the assembly and the board of directors. I'm humbled by that. But as the moderator said, he wanted to know my credential. I have a robust scientific credential. I'm a very versatile scientist. When I use the word versatile, I mean I have a distinct background in the area of science. Most scientists often are limited to one field of study, like chemistry, either you're chemist or you're a biologist or you're a physicist. But by the help of God and for my discipline, I have a degree and extensive knowledge and practice in areas the chemistry. I got my bachelor degree in chemistry from the Purdue University in Indianapolis with a emphasis in mathematics. Basically, maybe linear algebra and matrix. Uh, 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 and I serve as a research, undergraduate research student with the URM, undergraduate research mentoring sponsored by the National Science Foundation when I was at IUPUR, and serve as senator for the African Student Association there, international peer mentor in the chemistry laboratory and teaching assistant, and a nominated top 100 scholar upon graduation from the School of Science. That was my role at IUPUI. And then I work as a contract scientist in the field of analytical chemistry at Ida Lady through Cogent. After a year or two, I'm emancipated to uh, 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 expand my discipline from chemistry and from just research and development into more of in vivo and in vitro study, animal studies, where I went at the Brunson School of Medicine in Ohio or at Russell University and graduated as number two of the class of the graduating class of 2017 in the field of pharmacology and toxicology, where I was a research student and I had a publication in it, scientific journal on oncotarget for using aspirin melanoma to treat skin cancer. And then we relocated back to Indianapolis, worked as a research assistant at the IU School of Dentistry, where I look at the role of temporal blood joints on animals model with Dr. Azen Utuja, and then came back at Ida Lady through Eurofan as an associate chemist, biochemist, and later get promoted in a fixed duration role as a senior quality control chemist working on insulin molecule dulaglutide and loriglutide. And then, after I've trained some entry level chemists, I was then able to go into clinical aspect of the science where I enrolled into pharmacy school and I pursuing a dual degree in Doctor of Pharmacy and MBA at the same time at Manchester University College of Pharmacy, where I also work with Dr. Dennis Brown on research uh, for coming up with a new synthetic organic compound for treating people with Parkinson's disease. However, presently I'm a MIH, Medicine Innovation Hood Scientist, intern over the summer back at Ida Lady, where I'm working on protein synthesis and protein peptide chemistry for the new diabetic drug, Manjaro, especially focusing on tangential flow filtration and purification and separation of or the peptide to make patients to lose weight. So I have both clinical knowledge, robust scientific knowledge on animal model, uh, in vivo in vitro studies, and I also have some knowledge working in retail pharmacy at Kroger Pharmacy as well. So that's just few of what I've done, and I have more that I've done and more I've done and working on few publications, but that's few of what I've done for the sake of my audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And that is important for your audience to know who you are and where you're from, what your backgrounds are, because I mean, some people doubt the ability for people, for anyone, as much as they are coming to these different portfolios. So it is important that we ask such questions. They know the qualification you have, and then they can think and make a judgment for themselves. The audience needs to know. Importantly, we after you give your academic credential, we want to know you just been appointed as the Elections Commission for the LDI and with Court of Officers. Will you want? Will you? Don't you mind to let the LDI library and community to know why you think you fit for such position and your Court of Officers?
First of all, I think everybody on the team is highly qualified. They have integrity. They have standards, benchmarks. They are professionals. Example like Emerson Duo. He's a professional. He's a man of integrity. He served as president, the first president for the RYMA, and he shows leadership characteristic. He has been involved with this community. Budu Tebia is a man that serve this country, the United States of America, and he's on that commission. And he has been into law enforcement and other business aspect, and he's very good at accountancy and calculations. You have Pastor Johnny. who is a pastor that owns his own church, and the credibility of his church is also online. And we have Sis Lauren, who is married, have a stable job, and she also maintain her respect and her level of integrity since she resides in Indiana. And personally, for me, I have been with the Librarian Association of Indiana. I have taken SARS in politics. I have contested as secretary of the Librarian Association under the then Castle Dennis regime. And I serve under having panel administration as a parliamentarian for this same community. And the last in the election, I was the campaign chair for Mr. James Badakaba. We lost that elections. And so we have been critical on issues in this community. We are not novice to everything that happened here. We are well surrounded with the constitutions, the bylaws, and the rules and regulations that governs elections because we have been participating in the process for at least over 10 years. So that make us qualified and competent for the role. And the president make no mistakes, no mistake to have appointed us. And both the board of directors and the assembly also make no mistake by confirming us.
Are you active, eligible members of the community, of the area community? Then the
100%,
constitution calls for that.
100%.
Are you a due paying member of the community?
I'm up to my due for 3 years, and
For 3 years.
everybody on the on the commission are up to date as well.
What new model do you bring to the elections commission? What new model that do you bring to, or your team bring to the elections commission?
Oh, we as time in Massey Pits, we see some of the lapses that happened during the elections. By the way, I want for us to be clear on the record that the last 10 election commissions were very good. They are one of the best election commissions we are having in this community. But there was some leniency in the process. I will give you an example. And my example is not intended to hurt or hurt the feelings of anyone or any librarian. But it's just to have these on the records that these are some of the things that happen. And if the chair of the previous election commission, Mrs. Hannah Kolobo, will tell you that I sent series of emails to her, but they ignore the process, they ignore some of those emails because they didn't want they were a little bit linear, and that is different from what we are doing. We are following script what the constitution said. They follow the constitution, but one of the biggest thing I've seen and everybody cry on was that for you to have a then secretary general who has the records of the association for people that pay dues and members that pay dues to be contesting in that elections and refuse to provide all of the records that needed for the elections to be held, and he still run and conduct the election and certify, I mean, approving as a candidate and certificating after he won. I think that was a leniency. If he didn't produce the record at that time, I think he should have been disqualified. So if that scenario had to happen on our watch as chair, I would have taken different approach. He either bring the association record to public or turn it over to the association while he's running for we the election commission to have those records on file before we approve you in the process, because the constitution spoke of integrity. It spoke of being in good standing. That's not an integrity. For you to have an entire association document and confiscate those documents just to please a candidate that you are supporting, I feel like even if he was not doing it to support the candidate, but he was doing it for his own aggrandizement, I feel that that was not noble enough and that was not respectful to the association. And those are some of that's just one of the major things I saw that elections, and I think it will not happen on our watch.
Okay. Now that draws me to the question that you've been a political actor. You've been very drastic and rigid in the elections. You guys named fewer portfolios you had in the area, ranging from the having panel leadership, campaign manager for Bala, being politically inclined as per your explanation. Don't you see that as you chairing this election commission will show some biases?
I think the records can tell you that at some point on the Avin regime, my position was a little bit relinquished, resigned because I failed to negotiate with the president on certain issues that we can speak of. So I'm not biased in anything I do. I protect the Constitution. First of all, I want to have it clear on the record today that my preferment as election commission on Sunday shows that I have no friends and I have no enemies. So if I don't answer certain calls and I don't respond to certain messages, it is not being personal. It's just that I don't have a friend now and I don't have an enemy because to protect the Constitution.
You are the immediate past campaign manager for
Yes,
a major contender
yes,
against the current president.
yes,
You just pronounced that.
yes.
Don't you see, as a chairman election commission, it shows some biases? Don't you see
No,
that?
no, it shows no biases because at the time the positions I was in and the individual that was running was of very close allies of mine. He's not in a race, and none of his people are contesting these elections. I see a lot of neutral people, and I have been neutral for the last almost a year and a half in this community. I have not no political affiliation with anybody of any kind. I have not I have not taken side during the entire regime
Will
for
you
three
not
years.
use your current portfolio to reject show revenge in terms of how you felt, quote unquote, that some Secretary General had the documentations of the institution? Will you not use this current portfolio? You will be in charge. You will be
No,
leading the charge of the people that are supposed to vote. You will be the chairman of the Elections Commission. You will be the last boss stop. Don't you see that with all these things explained about you, and with the different roles played by the former Secretary General, former campaign manager, don't you see this as a trouble in the making?
no,
No,
absolutely not.
absolutely not.
I think I hear myself. I say, absolutely, there is no. I think, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Absolutely, there will be no no trouble because the then Secretary General is not in the race. I have I have no political affiliations, and those who are running have been neutral throughout. So that is not going to affect the process. And plus, how can I affect the process when you have a team of 5 people working? How? I, as a chair, as much as protect the Constitution, all of the 4 members on the commissioner, we have to approve for every process that we have to go through. So I don't
True.
have a unilateral vote. So I am not going to influence the election as an individual. And nobody as well on the commissioner going to at least alter the election or do any favoritism or bias. That will not happen. I have the track record of that. So because of that, I am very straight, and that is something that the president sees in me, for which he picked me to be the chair of the association.
The
And that
key thing
confidence,
is, Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
there is a skepticism. There is a dark cloud hanging.
Mm-hmm,
You previously served as campaign manager for the Ballot team. Ballot
mm-hmm,
lost the election to the current president.
mm-hmm.
You played some major role. You were rigid. You were campaigning. You were politically moving around and motivating, inspiring people. You are now in charge. You will be chairing the elections commission with your code of officers. You will be the last bus stop. Despite your team, the last senator for all the elections and to be pronounced will be led by you. Don't you see some biases in these elections? I still stress it. Don't you see some biases of your nomination? Will they not be used as a revenge towards whoever that you don't like that associated himself with Rufus Tati?
No, as far as concerned, if Rufus Tati, who was the opposition leader at the time when I was campaign chair, can appoint me, he sees confidence in me. How can a sitting president appoint a critical voice against him? He saw the confidence in me, as I said, my neutrality in this community. The role I have played for the last couple of 3 years has spoke volume for me to be an appointed. And now, the process of the Constitution tells you that I have to go through screening process with the board and with the assembly. I pass all of those screening processes. So I don't think there is any bias from my camp because one, I have a family, my children to protect, and my integrity is on the line. And there's my credential, and everything is on the line to take this position. So I believe that there is no biases, and
Was
there will be
this
no biases.
nomination hasty? Was this nomination hasty?
No, it was not. If it was hasty, the president would not have taken 2 months, almost 2 months late, to have appointed somebody. It was a tough process. He had to think to it, and I think the president also communicated with people within uh, his executive and people he trusted, and my name came forth as number one. So I think he puts that confidence in me because he took his time to process it and to nominate me.
Let's go to the voter roll. I mean, as per the Elections Commission laws, you
Mhm,
chairman Elections Commission with your code of officers.
mhm.
What are you guys doing? What's the mechanism put in place on the voter roll in terms of names, due payments, clearing of debt names? Some people might have gotten sick. Some people might have moved to a different state, mind you. Some people might have died, God forbid. But I know that the past voter roll, is it the same voter roll that you guys going to use as a guide towards these elections?
No, we look at the attendance records per constitution, and we look at those that have paid dues to be qualified for voting. Now, we have a couple of issues that have already started reaching the election commission desk. To solve those issues is for us to be straight with the constitution. That is, you have to be up to date with your dues to be qualified to vote. Now, if any leniency will have to occur, we as a commissioner, we do not decide for the assembly. The assembly will have to go to meeting and vote on it that look, because of COVID, because of this, because of that, we think it is good that we take out these criteria and they will vote upon it themselves. And the president can bring it forth and we all can sit down and have a dialogue about it. But we as a commissioner, we cannot do anything out of the scope of the constitution. That's the organic law.
So, in short, are you telling me the president will be interfering in the duties of elections commission as
No,
per what you just explained?
that's not what I said. The president still has the mandate to host meetings. There
With
are
the
other
elections commissions? After
no.
the elections commission, let's get it straight, Mr. Chairman.
Mhm.
You are on the record. You are
Yeah.
speaking to the Liberian community.
Yes.
When the elections commission should have been set up and commissioned, the
Mhm.
president, whether a country or a community, has no connection or interference otherwise.
But
Are
that's
you saying to the Liberian community when there are hitches, when there are
mhm.
problems, that you supposed to handle internally in terms of voter rule, as you just explained, and people
Mhm.
raise that with you? Will you revert to the presidency for correction?
No, you are not. You probably not getting my point. Let me just rephrase
Okay,
what I
please
said.
expand on it.
What I'm saying is that we cannot singly determine who should vote without a constitution. Now we know we experience pandemics. During the pandemic, people lose their jobs. So if people are complaining that look, we cannot pay for 3 years, we can pay for 2 years. I'm saying that I cannot determine that because you lost your job in 2020 because of COVID, you are eligible to vote. I can't singly determine that. It has to be determined like a community. So these people has to go to meeting. Whatever vetting process comes from the meeting, whatever they decide upon as a community, we as an election commission can go back and sit around the round table, not with the people, not
Who
with the
chaired
president.
that meeting, Mr. Chairman? Who chairs that meeting? The
We
meeting
chair the,
that you're talking about in case of any issues. Who chairs that meeting?
we chair the meeting because we are in a position to make those adjustments.
Okay, and then who called the meeting?
We can still call our own meeting per constitution. We can still call our own meeting. So we will call the meeting because if that's a concern from the people, we call the meeting, we chair the meeting, and if majority of the people, because the people make the decisions in these elections, not us.
Right.
If majority of the Liberian people in Indiana say we want this to happen, then we have that leniency. But in terms of rumors from outside that we want this, we cannot go back out of rumors to just make that decision. We'll be violating the constitution.
So now again, it boils down to the question I asked previously. What are the new models? What the standards are you going to set for the electoral process? What standards? What are some of the new things that you're going to modify? Because most of the things you say, these are constitutional issues. It falls
Mhm,
within your purview. You worked on it
mhm,
before. The
mhm.
guidelines are there. The guidelines can be the standards that you can still invent. You can remodify. What are some
Yeah,
of the new things that you bring to the community that will give them that free will to stand in the sun? The last year it was a little bit cold. It's going to
yeah.
be sunny. What different thing you bring that going to give them that motivation to go out to vote?
Um, one thing you gotta understand is that one of the things that we're thinking about is the issue of voter educations.
Correct.
Yeah, we anticipate hosting workshops, maybe at least about two workshops,
Mm-hmm.
because we have some elders in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So last election we didn't have voter educations. Another thing is to do is that we are thinking on diversifying uh, 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 the the moderator for debates.
There you go.
We think about at least because when we have integrations of different people that is diverse on the debate team, the way the question will be posed to the candidate. Like what surprises me is that the involvement of young people in the politics in Indiana is enhancing is growing very fast. So having a very young intellectual on the debate with that of the elders and somebody from the bowl is a diversified one. Maybe having a lady as a moderator will also help in that process. So voter education, awareness, because we're going to be moving around from churches. We have a lot of churches in the community, and we have local organizations. Now, another thing I have noticed, and other commissioners have noticed, is that people just apply for this position because they qualify. So the constitutions, every meetings and every gathering we go to, we're going to make the constitutions available to the people
Right.
so that the people can know that, look, if I want to be a parliamentarian on the Liberian community, if I want to be a secretary, these are my responsibility. I'm not running because my friend is in a race and I want to support my friend. I want to have that slot field. But these are my responsibilities. Now, another thing we're going to do is that as much as the association, the present government going to bring a list of attendees for these meetings to see who are qualified to vote. We're going to do our own scrutiny process to see if these people for true attended the meeting or the list they brought to us was not fortified. These are some of the things that people relinquish in the past that we are not going to relinquish. Your records, the records the president is going to turn over to us, both financially and with the attendance for meetings, we're going to check that record. We're going to do verification process on that record, and we're going to do that. And then in our application fee for you to be a leader of this community, in the application fee, they say you should be, our constitution says you should be a good citizen, you should be a law-abiding person. We're going to do our own scrutiny of those that apply. If they abide by community status, we're not going to think people character. Let us be clear. But if we're going to do our own personal vetting process along with the guidelines to see if you are qualified to vote, or to run in these elections. So I just feel the commissioner was just set up on Sunday. We just sworn in. We have been working overnight. At least by Saturday or early next week, the rules and regulations will be made to the public. So we are working. We're not sleeping. So most of what I'm saying, there will be addition after our meetings are coming up. But that's some of the real issues that we're going to be looking at.
When you intend to have your first meeting as a chairman of elections commission?
My first meeting in terms of commissioner or in terms of the entire community?
No, election. Yeah, in terms of elections commission. When you
Yeah,
intend to have your first meeting?
but by the help of God, according to our discussions in our chat room, our first meeting will be Friday, and by Saturday evening, between Saturday to Monday, I don't want to give a deadline. The rules and regulations will be up out there.
Are you going to be abiding by the Constitution to set standards for the Liberian community for these elections? Are you going to be
Yes,
using the LAI Constitution to
yes.
set the standards for the elections commission?
The February 17, 2012 Constitution, I will be using that along with previous guidelines that are necessary from previous commissioner. That's what
But
I'll
I
be doing.
understand about the elections law.
Mhm,
It gave me the reason that elections commissions cannot vote. They are in the Liberian community. They are Liberians, but they are on the
mhm.
commission. Is that true?
That's true. We are not supposed to vote.
Are there any reasons for that? Do you have any understanding of that as a chair of the election commission? And are there any reasons for that?
If we are allowed to vote, we could influence the elections because it means I have to take a side. I have to cast a vote for somebody. And If you do that, it means that you already uh showing some biasness in the process, and you're also going to then try to negotiate or try to campaign slowly for other people, and that's why we
So
keep
you
our.
shortly trying to tell me that Elections Commission does not trust their independence.
They do trust their independence, but you have to exhibit neutrality.
And how do you exhibit neutrality? Are there rules set up? And my understanding is that the votes are being casted by it's a secret ballot votes. And
Mhm.
if that is true, how does that influence the election and stop somebody who lives in the Labyrinth community from voting? Can you expand on that? The Labyrinth community wants to know because one of the days, one of us will be chairman election commission. We are
Mhm.
eligible to vote. We paid our dues. Is that not denying somebody their legitimate right as an eligible a Liberian in a Liberian community of voting for somebody that they believe in doing on the elections commission?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it because first of all, to be neutral, it means you don't have to take a side, and that's why you chose to be neutral. You volunteer to be neutral because that's what it takes. It takes you to deny your rights for the interest of the community, and in doing so, it means that you have to lose the aspect of voting. That's what it takes to be a commissioner. And first of it counts, since my existence in this community is the first time I am not going to vote. And I accepted it. I know the consequences that come along, but I accepted it because I have to serve my community in this time that they need me, that I'm
Can you
needed.
please expand on the absentee votes?
Oh, the absentee vote.
The absentee vote,
Actually,
because
we.
the
Mhm,
Constitution says it should be casted before voting day. So
mhm,
if it is that law that they're going to go back, I
mhm,
mean, I still try to capture the definition. Votes being
mhm.
casted before the voting day because the person absent. You, as the election commissioner, the chairman of the election, can you explain to the Liberian community so that they can really get the true picture of the absentee vote?
Yeah. So things happen. Um. Maybe somebody. Just as an example, maybe somebody who have met all of the criteria to vote, had a serious emergency, death in the family or stuff, and they want to vote earlier for their candidate, and we see on the list that that person is qualified to vote, they can vote earlier before because they will not be able to come on the day of the elections. But it's a level with the commissioner to decide if this person for true qualify for absentee vote. Maybe looking at the circumstances surrounding that. Now, the issue of absentee vote, I don't think it's an abnormal process. It's a normal process. But how we do it and how we conduct it, and who are considered absentees, are these people, is this person or are these people who met all of the criteria that have been involved in the committee and stuff, and they have a
Right,
serious emergency?
right.
So, and let me tell you, for us as commissioner, what is good is transparency in the elections, fairness is very important and highly important. So for me, out of those that will be considered absentee, that will vote earlier, as a commissioner, what we're doing in this committee is that for both parties to be satisfied, we will publish the name, but we'll not publish who they vote for. How we do that? So that both candidates can be able to look at the roster and say, okay, Mr. Jeremiah City or Mr. Emerson Duo was absent, but he met all the criteria and he voted. So we have to make the name public to the people so they can know that, oh, we did not inflame or we did not enhance or we did not alter the absentee vote. So we have to do it in a more transparent way because.
Yeah, another thing is because it confuses me. I
Mhm,
mean, we have to really, besides what you just expanded on, where
mhm.
are they going to vote? Where I mean, somebody absent, they bring the criteria, they left, they travel for school, but they want to vote before leaving. Where exactly are they going to vote? Where are they physically going to vote? Are they going to call you, Jeremiah? All right, let me send you my ballot bags. Or are they going to call everything? Let me send you my ballot bags. Or Voodoo, let me send you my ballot bag. How this going to really happen to satisfy the desire of the Liberian community?
We as commissioner, we have not decided that, but what I can tell you is um, there are possibilities. And one of the possibilities that I personally will bring forth before the commissioner. As I said, I can't decide anything individually, but I personally in the meetings, what we can bring forward is that we probably decide our locations and give it to and put it to the public and say absentee voters, there will be the day you can come and vote and where you can vote. Or since we're in the 21st century,
Right.
we can create a link. I will create a absentee votes can vote electronically. Man, we have a lot of RT guys here that can create a link. You go and vote. You can bring 1,000 names. When we have our record and we see that you fit the absentee vote and you qualify, we can check you and we can count that vote.
How
100 people,
trusted will be the link? If anything of such might happen, how trusted will be the link?
will be trusted because you have security. We have people who did RT security, classify. If we give them the names of those that are considered absentee, those are the names that will come through and there will be verification process. And so as I said, if it's auto, we know because we also have our names of people we expect to vote and their names will populate in the system. As I said, we have RT specialists. We have been there. We have colleagues that we trust that can help with the process. Now, as I said, the commissioner, we are in our embryonic stage. We are mitigating all of the ideas to make this process transparent, translucent as well, fair. So the issue of absentee vote will be handled and will be made public to the public and will be made very clear. So at this time, this is my personal suggestion as a commissioner. There is not a unilateral one yet, but that is what I decided to take to the commissioner. And if anything changes other than what I said, it will be made public.
There's something in the election laws that talk about checking election balance, a chapter balance. What does that mean? The librarian committee wants to know. Can you expand on that? I kept reading about that, and my understanding about it is still trying to grasp on it.
You mean
when they say that the elections commission is charged with the responsibility to check on the chapter balance, what does that mean?
okay, the chapter balance, because okay, let me be clear on this. We according to the way the Librarian Association function and work, in my purview, and I'm hope I'm right on this, clear on this, is that we should have local chapters, like
Okay.
the Nobleville chapter, the Fort Wayne chapter, the
Mhm.
Kokomo chapter, the South Bend chapters. Now, all these people bring representation or representative of those that are within the chapters that are eligible to vote or that have paid their dues. So all of the people that are coming from South Bend should be qualified to vote. How we do? We ask for the local chapter records if it exists. They bring these names and we check if the number of people that they bring to vote are qualified to vote and they are the one that participate in these elections.
Okay.
Now, all of those that participate in the elections, we don't have political parties, we have individuals. But all of those are both teams send their representative during the counting process. So election commission don't just count. You have your representative present. Once we count who win and who loses, your representative, we sign, your representative sign, agree to it. If any discrepancy, we go back and check. We talk it before we pronounce results. But the chapter balance comes about each of those that represent each local chapters within the Librarian Association should be looked at on a record, should be checked, and then should be approved. Because you can't say the local, for example, the local chapter South Bend cannot have 50% on a sheet as a participant that pay the dues, that qualify, that go to meetings, and then we accept 200 people as voter. It won't show our records to be legitimate. It won't show our records to be truthful. So that's why it is. So we have to do our own check and balance in that process for every local chapters.
Okay.
That's why it is.
So you have the authority also to announce the voter roll and give deadlines, and also have the authority to announce dates and time that candidates are supposed to register. Do you care to tell the librarian people in the librarian community of Indiana how far are you gone? I mean, you just been newly appointed, but I mean, what your intuition tells you about how you feel about the process in terms of standards, dates, and time with candidates, their criteria, what qualifies them, and what position they're going to be in, and what disqualifies a candidate. Do you care to tell the librarian people?
I can't tell people specifically because I will be at least disrespecting a little bit disrespectful to my colleagues. Even though I'm chair, everything has to be done from that authorized process from everybody. So I can tell some of the guidelines, but what I can tell you is that, as I said previously, before the weekend, the guidelines will be up. And then early next week, the entire calendar of events that governs the entire election
How
process
soon
will
do
be
we
up.
expect campaign?
Campaign is within 2 weeks. We did listen, my brother. We're not here to play. We don't take public office, or we don't volunteer our time and say we call volunteering so we don't make money, we're lapsing. No. We are everybody on the commission, they are professional people. Time is of essence in the United States of America. Before this president appointed us and make these nominations, we are almost like a month and a half behind, because they said the Constitutional Election Commission should be appointed 6 months. Because
Correct.
of the polarized environment, people were afraid to step up. And we accept the polarization, we accept negativity, but that will not stop us from doing a good job, because we chose to do it for the interest of our community. So I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, the entire cannot even up.
Do
People
you
will
have a
know.
personal relationship with the current president that can influence the decision on who he wants to campaign for or which side he is? Because
Oh,
this is a Liberian community. I have seen people get injured here. I have seen people get wounded. People mind got trauma. I have seen people upside down. Until today's date, some people still in their political mood. They still politically savage. They have not relaxed their mind. You are the chairman elections commission. You will be transitioning a current president to another president. The shoulder, a rest on your shoulder. It's a bigger tax that you've taken on. You are a scientist. I don't know deeper about your administrative working. What role are you going to play, or lineage do you have with the current president that going to influence your decision, that anything going to happen going to rest on your shoulder?
first, for anybody to even say me and the present president, we are having like anything of course existing friendship, that would be irony. How can somebody who has been critical for with this president also then be in bed with this president? That in fact is a contradiction. So Mr. Rufus Tati has already played his part. I have no dealing with Mr. Tati. This my dealing. My dealing is strictly with the constitution and Liberian people. Mr. Tati now remains a normal citizen in my eyes, in my purview. Regardless of his stature, yes, I respect him as a president, but in my purview now, he has to follow the same laws like any other Liberian during the electoral process. So, my brother, let's lay that issue to rest. Because I can tell you, Mr. Tati has no way or no informatives on what happened
Because
within
of
the
your
community.
harsh criticism in the community, your previous political role,
Mm-hmm,
and your hardness on issues
mm-hmm.
surrounding this community, that people know you of, and Jeremiah City is critical on issues that surround the LAI, because he wants to see it better, or he doesn't want to see it better, whatever way they're going to picture it. I mean, is it a payback position that the current president has given you so as to place you in a position of balance, or to put you in a position of imbalance?
No, I think he doing it in the interest of the community. Because okay, let's assume by assumption, because again, we are not in a man of individuals here. Let's say by assumption he placed me there. He did it in the interest of this community, because why? Now, if I'm that critical as people think, then let's see this critical guy and let's look at his integrity, because that's the integrity institution. As a commissioner, it's an integrity institution. Now, I got more to lose than the president appointing me, because once I accepted it, I have kids in the community. I have a lot of people who are narcissists in this community, polarized community, where people
Mm-hmm.
just wake up and say gibberish because they want to please their personal aggrandizement.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but they don't really know you. So it's my character here that I put on a line to serve on an integrity institution. So it is at the detriment of myself. It's that I'm putting myself in a hard spot. It's at my detriment, because I have kids, I have a wife in this community, and if I do anything that go out of the discipline of an election commission, I will live with it for the rest of my life. So it is not at the detriment of the president, but the president felt, I think he felt that is the best thing to do because as much as Jeremiah is critical, he has the integrity. He stands for something. Now, one of the reasons why serving on this commission is a relief to the president and to the board of directors and to the assembly is that they know that I'm a very straightforward person. I don't bend rules because of family or friends. And I'm not wishy-washy. Sunday I'm on this side, Sunday I'm on this side, Sunday I'm on this side. When I say I'm for you, I'm for you. So when Jeremiah said he's neutral on issue, he's neutral. It's not mean where I say, oh, today I'm for 30, today I'm for this person, I'm for that person. You know what I mean? I've always kept firm on issue. I've always been real to myself. I always speak up for the reality. I've always been robust on irregularities. And now, if I'm serving an integrity institution, that institution I make sure is fully running on the laws that governs the association. And as I told the commissioner, if it has, if it takes the commission to do everything possible to conduct this election free, fair, transparent. If Mr. Basiga, if being free, fair, and transparent is evil, then I will take that. I will take that to be evil. But I will do my best to give the Liberian people what they want. Whoever they select is whoever they will get. I am not going to bend the rule for a single person.
I mean, what relationship do you have with your code of officers? Good or bad? How the relationship is like. I mean, there are different people from diverse background. You all might have met here interacting, but it doesn't mean that you guys are cooler there. And to have a teamwork, you should build a relationship. What relationship you as chairman? I mean, the truth of the matter is the goblet of authority lies on your shoulder. Everything that comes to the Elections Commission will be thrown at you. What relationship do you have with your code of officer? That prudency will be the key of this Elections Commission.
Mr. Basiga, I have a very good relationship with people. And I want to, as I say, I'm in my discipline, I'm a little bit different because there are more people who, in a sense, even that are anti-social. I am more of a social butterfly, both at work and stuff like that. I know how to get around people. I know how to carry myself around people. I know how to talk to people. I know how to convince people. And I know I'm not trying to convince to influence them, but to make them work. I've already started the process. I know how to push people to get them to do the job. Because everybody on the commissioner, as of today, Mr. Basiga, will be very strange that you will not see me as a chair talking because before this, we were going to have our spokesperson. Because I'm the chair doesn't mean I will speak for everybody. This is my first interview. I will only be coming on here maybe to make clarity, but we'll have our full spokesperson on the commissioner, and that will not be the chair. So what I'm saying here is that I have a very good working relationship. When people say Jeremiah is difficult to deal with, maybe that those people are the people that don't want to be in lines. They want to jump here and there and skip every due process. But I have a very good working relationship with people. And that's why whatever things from outside that will influence the process, I will not take it. And my colleagues also will not take it because I have a very good working relationship with them. Like our communication has been very effective so far. Everybody has been responsive. Everybody is communicating. The ideas are flowing. And I tell God, thank you for the president and the kind of people he picked and the community as well for making me like to work with these people. These are very intelligent people.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
MSN.
yeah,
I've been talking to him for a while. I know
yeah,
he's an
yeah,
intelligent guy. I've seen him put up
yeah,
services in the community.
yeah.
But that's
Sis
part of
Lauren,
people getting
yeah,
involved in the community. It's a different portfolio you wear.
yeah,
As on the Elections Commission, it is challenging. And it is important to know that when you on the Elections Commission, there are limitations of interactions, limitations of conversation, limitation of service, and who you interact with. So, I
exactly.
mean, to transition this community, either it be chaotic or it be peaceful, and all lies in your purview.
Yeah.
Again, another question would be, there will be mail-in boxes. What standards are you setting for that? I mean, I saw that in the election laws that you have to set a standard or the channel in which giving a mailing address or whatever necessary criteria they're going to follow to do that voting. How you going to work with that? How you and your team going to work with
I think yeah, I have a million bars and a million address. And what we're going to do, I think, is that we're going to request a key from the president if he could be very genuine to give us a mailing key. Because if the president and the vice president are in possession of the mailing key, they can go take elections stuff. We're not allowed them. So we request a key to the mailing address, and we will be in full authority. As I speak to you, I'm in our possessions as a commissioner. We have some thanks to the previous commissioner. We have some of the utensils and info stuff they turn over to us, and they are well documented. They are well saved. And so imagine, bro, from Sunday to Tuesday, if we can tell you all of these, it tells you the five commissioners are we're not joking. So the issue of that mailing stuff, we get the keys, we all of the election stuff that comes there, we get it ourselves, and we make sure we do inventory, and all of these things will be made to the public and for transparency. And we'll also set we our financial statement, we comes up to how much we need to run the affairs. All of the breakdown will be done. So yeah, yeah, everything will be
So,
done
I
right.
mean, you have been viewed by so many people in the laboring community. One of those person viewing you is Mark Actor D, commonly known
Hmm.
as Mark K. And he
Hmm.
asked a very sensitive question, similar to these same things I have been putting forth. He wants to know as to whether you, as a chairman election commission, the standards you setting for this community voting process, whether it's going to be manual or it's going to be electronic. This is something important the librarian community wants to know through Mark.
What are as we said previously, when it comes to the absentee voters, we said we're going to put a mechanism into place, maybe give them some leverage. But for
Mm-hmm.
the entire election process, I don't think we as a commission is very safe to do electronic voting, because that way, if that process is not scrutinized properly, there can be irregularities that can lead to consequences or miscount of votes. Now, what I say that if the great United States of America can have Russia to tap into the elections, do you think we are that sophisticated as a local community to do electronic voting? In my purview, I don't think so. So if it's if it is with absentee voter, we have small amount of people, security can go through. But we have a lot of voters coming. So it will be good to come at a poll station, and we tell you when the poll stations will open, when we close, like last elections, and we give people the opportunity to cast the ballot. But I don't think it's safe for us to do electronic voting, because if any irregularities occur, if anything that don't look sincere to the public happens, we will be held responsible.
I mean, in terms of awareness, I know you talk about the voter roll. I mean, how will your outreach mechanism look like? Then I will ask you the question from how somebody asked a question. I didn't see it directly, but they took it out. And the question, before I forget the question, the person trying to ask, what if you move out of Indianapolis? Can you vote? The same as the absentee vote you previously spoke about. Can you emphasize for the librarian community? Somebody, or Richard Joe Banks wants to know that.
We have not make a we have not make a pronouncement on that. We have not decided that, and that's something now that I'm going to take into consideration. And I think further commissioners are watching too. They are documenting, because these questions are very important. But again, I'm not going to speak to that, because there are some leniency when it comes to that, because according to what we have done in the past and what have been on the rules and regulations, is that you have to be here, you have to be within the state of Indiana for 6 months with your identification to vote. So can we say when you're out of the state, at least 6 months you can vote? Or so those adjustments have to be made, but that's something we have to decide. And it's one of those things we are not deciding upon. And Orita, thank you for asking that question. That at least brought us to thinking how we can make that adjustment. And if we make that adjustment again, the rules and regulations will be up there.
I mean, another important thing that a lot of people following, and the current Secretary General of the Basel Association, and he was a major player of the elections of Ruta Tati. His name
Mhm.
is Richard Boyer.
Oh,
He said the just ended meeting that gave rise to you and others confirmation was only based on good standing in due payment and being current. Meeting attendance was not considered as a yardstick in you and others commissioners' confirmation. My question is, are you going to use attendance as one of your yardstick? That is his question. The question comes from the current Secretary General of the Basketball Association. He wants to know as
Okay.
to whether attendance will be used as a yardstick for people that will be legitimate or eligible to vote.
Yes, we're going to request the attendance record. Let me tell you, I was not in a position to nominate myself. I am not in a position to say uh, what are the guidelines that should be met for our confirmation, but I'm in a position to decide who are eligible to vote.
That's correct.
That was the positions of the president then.
That's
And
correct.
my brother who just asked the question was in that very same meeting, and I think that concern should have been raised because he was part of those that clear us out.
That's
So
correct.
I'm wondering if he cleared us out before he remembered that, oh, I should have asked this. And plus, they should have done that background. As I said, the president, maybe you think that Jeremiah said they have not attended a meeting or anybody on the commission has not attended a meeting, but there were a couple of online meetings that we did during COVID time. And maybe the president have that record that some of us attended the online meeting and he counted it as attendance. Who decide that? Is Rufus 30. If that's a missteps, then it means 3 different credible institution or subconscious institution within the association made mistake. The president, his executive, the board of directors, and the assembly. Now, some people from the assembly will just talk because they feel they're talking because they have opportunity to be at the platform. Yes, T-Mobile give all of us the bills, how to use our phones. I don't pay your bill, Mr. Bezike, you don't pay my bills. But how I use my phone is different from how you use your phone. If you want to use
Right.
your phone to send 1,000 messages in a public space
Right.
to gain relevance, I use my phone to do research and development to incline myself ideologically and learn
Right.
more material while you use it to be attacking people. So if there's a misstep or misprocess that go on, the assembly that the people who identify those mistakes should have then attended the confirmational meetings and be able to tell the presidency these are the mistakes. But those that confirm us, I think they did due diligence to this committee to confirm us
In
because
terms
they
of
were not aware.
awareness, I was asking you a direct question in terms of
Mhm,
awareness. You name Noblesville, the rest of other areas, there are
mhm,
places that are reachable.
mhm.
And you and your team, I would like to know what mechanism you guys going to place to put in place, going to reach out there to the community, those distances that are far but they are reachable.
Mhm,
Because my understanding elections might be in November.
mhm,
Campaign might soon start, as you said. So,
mhm,
looking with your timeline,
mhm.
what mechanism have you put in place? You just been confirmed, or what mechanism are you thinking about putting into place that you're going to go out there with a voter roll explanation, outreach that will give the values to the people? Because the numbers have to come up for people to vote. It is on the elections commission to carry out the message. What messaging? What charisma? What different extra remodifying model that you're going to take out there to the various community that are going to give that advice to the chairman of the election commission and his team, and people will come out to vote wherever it will be designated.
Okay. One of the thing is that you talk about mechanism, my brother. Just with from Sunday to in 2 days, I'm on the media already. That's awareness.
Yep.
I'm one of the election commission that have worked in a short period of time. You gave me 2 days in office. I'm already on the media. I'm engaging the people. Secondly, we have people that in local churches and commissioner will be assigned to go to local churches to do that. But one
Correct.
important thing is I'm a student of business administration as well. So I know how to market stuff.
Correct.
In pharmacy, we do marketing. We know how to market product. We know how to market drugs. And there's something they call value stream mapping.
Mm-hmm.
In doing so, is to map or show diagrams. You don't always have to use words to explain. You can use diagrams to educate people.
Yeah.
I can
Image
come up
communication. They got something in
exactly,
communication we call image communication. You also can
exactly.
use all that.
Yes, that's similar thing, especially for older people who do not know how to read and write. You can do image. So we we are not sitting, we are inclined, we are qualified. So when it comes to coming up with this mechanistic pathway, ways to do things, I think we are capable. We just have to be more robust in the process and be able to communicate it well. And distances, the Evansville 3-4 hour drive, it can be part of our budget for transportation. We can take a weekend and tell them if they have people there, if the association, based on the list, if they have people there, if there's a need for us to go there, we will have to go there. If there's a need for us to go to South Bend, we will have to go there. And that's the responsibility. That's the role we took. Even though we are volunteering, but the word volunteering don't always have to be pay. You get your pay in the future based on the integrity you speak now. A lot of people look at, and one thing, Mr. Bessie, as more as you are volunteering, my brother, LAR, nobody has taken any position with LAR that they have been paid. Even the sitting president, even those that wrote the constitution, it has always been volunteering. So election commissions are volunteering, but our voluntary service will then reference in history to what we have established and what we have done well and what we didn't do well. So, my brother, we do our best to get out there. As I say, we do imaging for those that need imaging. We go to the churches, we go to local organizations, we make the constitutions available. And the only thing I won't do in public is to start discussing elections in public with people. Yeah. If you have a legitimate concern during the elections, our emails and the contact will be provided, and communicate that with facts, and then we can check it and do our own investigation. But I will not sit in public and start discussing elections with anybody. I won't do
Do
that.
you currently have the stats of the community in terms of numbers?
The president just decide to give us everything pretty soon, so we get it. I don't currently have it, but
So
we get it. We
when
get it
when
within.
you gather the stats, it will be
Mhm,
your first yardstick or the working tool to
mhm.
utilize in terms of how you move forward as an elections commission.
Yes, but not forgetting like what we said previously. Even it come from the administration, we also have to do our own to make sure it's legitimate first before we start. You know what I mean? But you're
Yeah,
right.
your facts
That's
finding,
yeah. Yes.
evaluation, your feasibility study, and then
Yes.
you can move forward to ask why you think is better that you can put out there in terms of
Abs-
voter registration.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, Mr. Chairman,
Hmm.
you've come on the shore. You've been very elaborate. You've been expressing yourself. You are a good intellect. You aspired on your capacity. You are well qualified. What message do you have for the librarian community?
What I want to let the people know is that first of all, God don't make mistakes to put certain people in certain positions, and our decision to serve on the commissioner should be respected. Our family should be respected, and the community should have the belief in us that we will do the good project, or we do a good work. Now, will there be criticism? Yes. My question is, who are our critics? Our critics are probably some of our colleagues, some of our friends, our own brothers and sisters, our own family, because the position we take, they will be critical of it. Probably you know Jeremiah City from your classroom or from your household to
I
be
know.
this evil person that you have climax in your mind.
Right.
But you don't know Jeremiah City in the corporate world because you could be my immediate family, but you don't know my work ethic in the corporate world. So
Right.
my thing to you is that in left, there are some people that will criticize.
Right.
And your work is also there to keep going up. So as long people criticize, keep going up. You focus on doing the right thing. Let the critics do what they do best. But we're not carried away by petty statement, crybabies and stuff like that. As long you get the right, as long you're doing the right thing, you fear no criticism. Those that fear to be criticized are those that are doing the wrong thing. And to this community, I can tell you, if you have never had an election commission that you never believe in, that have never done the right thing, you have had one. I can guarantee you that you have had one that will do the right thing. Our judgment will be at the point it will be done right and it will be satisfactory by the librarian people that put the belief in us.
Okay. We got close to 9 minutes to show up, and I think everybody's still listening to you a lot. Two or three people ask critical questions, and I would still want to follow up with some questions in terms of your lookout of the community, your own analysis of the community, why your own verge in terms of your opinion in terms of young people, and who are those you think are the stakeholders that you think you're going to attach a more like priority to engage, that they come out since they are reachable, or they come out since they are eligible to vote, and their numbers in terms of how huge they can turn out, whether the young people, the females, the older people. In these categories, who are those group? What are those groups you think that's in their numbers that you really going to target in terms of priority?
Uh, Realistically, I'm not an executive to campaign to say I campaign into this class or not campaign to the class. So I think the best thing to do in this capacity is for your message to get to everybody, whether if it's an 80 years old person, because if we do metrics analysis, we'll be predetermining the number of people that should come out. Our work is to get the message out there to as much people that are librarians to vote. Now, it is left with those that are campaigning to be in it to campaign to which population they feel comfortable with. For us,
Okay.
our message will go to everybody. But you said something very sensitive that the young people are rising up and they are participating in. What my message to them? The first thing I want for the young people to understand that for you to see Jeremiah sitting and Emerson doing the commissioner means that you have an opportunity in the future, and do not tarnish that. Don't damage your reputation. See the work we do, learn from the things, because we sitting here, maybe we make the right judgment of why we are here. We did some things wrong. We're not perfect. But see us as yourself. There is nothing here to fight about. There is nothing here to shoot hate about, because we in our capacity to unify this community, our decisions can demoralize this community. And we don't want that, because there's a community we have fought for over years. But the young people should look at us as an example, as a yardstick, and put themselves in our capacity. All of the yes, the anxiety, the ambiguity, the egotism, and everything. Yeah, it's okay. Everywhere group of people assemble, there will be differences. There will be people who will not accept your opinion or accept your decisions. But how you put out those information because you are not happy tells who what kind of individual you are. It speaks of who you are. So let be very, very characterize ourselves as good people, as young people, as future leader of this community. And to the elderly people, we want to say thank you that we can see more of our young brothers and sisters getting involved with the politics. We want to say thank you for the opportunity as well. But I want the young people to see us as Emerson Duo, Jeremiah Silly, as people that come from right above, like in our gathering, and are sitting here. And there are more young people that will do more than Jeremiah Silly, and that have been our prayer. So it's not a competition game, but it's a game to serve. And once we are called upon, we do that with due diligence.
Closing remarks to hear from the chairman, the intellectual, and the scientist, and you can speak in your capacity as the chairman of the Elections Commission. Closing remarks in few words, in like maybe 120 seconds. But before you close, there's a message coming out there from Brother Jeremiah Chia. There's an open forum for the librarian community, and this librarian community is for us. And so when you engage in the community, because you will soon transition the community as a chairman of the Election Commission and your code of officers. So Jeremiah Chia says he thinks that you are, the Elections Commission is on the right trajectory with regards to the jurisdiction given to you and your portfolio, and as well as the sanctity of elections. He thinks that you should keep elucidating. And he says, comrade, how's up to you? I mean, so a lot of people out there giving their messages. They are encouraged for the way you are spying on it. This might be the first time that they have the Elections Commission face to face, coming face to face with them, interacting with them, giving such a unique message, expanding on the Constitution, his electoral role, his function, his qualification. And there are other people out there that say, kudos to you. What message in your closing do you have for the Liberian people?
First of all, my brother Jamachi, my namesake, we have the same name anyway. I want to say thank you for your expose on the process and for congratulating me and to the many Liberians. Many Liberians send me congratulation message that put their faith in me, that went in the group chat, congratulated me and my colleagues. I'm overwhelmed. I saw the love. Some people could not put it in the group chat for personal reason, but in my phone, I received messages. I have personal friends that call me and advise me like it's an opportunity for people to know who you are. I have personal people that call me and say, Jeremiah, maybe the perception of other people, it's time for you to prove your worth to them. And I want to send my whole heart to those people that always believe in me. As a young man growing in the community, I went through a lot. I went through a lot. We can't say everything,
Mm,
but I've never given up. I've always know myself and I know the true value of my human relations with people. And
mm,
because I'm sincere and I know my heart, I think God always bless me and put me in a position to always be a blessing to other people. Because I know myself.
mm-hmm,
I know if my heart is dirty or clean, but I think my heart is well clean towards people. So for me to be in this position as one of the youngest election commission, look, my brother, I will accept as the youngest secretary general. That enhances and entices a lot of young people to come on board. Except as a young parliamentarian, I'm not in a position to be the young election commissioner. It's not a mistake. It's what God has destined. And we have to also follow the leaf of what God wants us to do. But what I'm saying here is a Liberian people have had so much confidence. That's one of the biggest spot I've ever been on. Liberian people have had this confidence that they put in me, Rufus starting other people. I cannot betray that stuff. I cannot betray their trust in me. Yeah. So I want to tell them thank you very much. I want to tell my wife thank you for her support as well because I carried this to her and she advised me. So I want to say thank you personally to her, my kids, and to all of my family who believe in me. To those who never believed in me, it's okay. It's okay. Because if I have everybody to believe in me, I won't do the good
yeah.
job.
You
Yes.
won't get motivated to do what you have to do.
The most important people are my critics.
Right.
The most important people are those who don't believe in my manifesto or believe in my ideology. They are the most important people because they are the pressure for me to deliver. And that's why I'm going to promise you that we're going to do a good job. And finally, to those I'm working with, my heart's up to you, to my colleagues, MSC Duo, Sis Lauren Kekula, Pastor Johnny, Blue Tibia. I want to say thank you for accepting to work with me as your chair. And we will work together to make sure we deliver a peaceful, free, fair, transparent election to the people in Indiana. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremiah Kesele. The voice you just listened to is the voice of the newly nominated and confirmed chairman of the Elections Commission of LAI. His name is Jeremiah K. Sele Senior. He's an academician. He labeled all his portfolio previously. He's our current chairman of the Committee for Elections Commission. He will be transitioning this community, the Liberian community, in November. It is resting on his shoulders. He has a responsibility. He has a very big ties, and it is on his shoulder. This community will be peaceful, or it's going to be disastrous. So thank you very much, Mr. Sele, for coming. Thanks to our viewers. Thanks to our listeners. Our hearts up there to the Logan's Hour. You know we are on the Logan's Hour, and I'm hosting the Logan Hours today. The founder and owner of the Logan's Hour, Mr. Philip Logan, he gives me the benefit of the doubt to host it today, the hosted chairman of the Elections Commission. I want to say a very big thank you to you. He's the founder and the owner, and he's the host of the Logan's Hour. Due to his engagement, his visit engagements today, we were asked to fit in the shoes, make sure we put out there the Elections Commission chair who has just been confirmed on Sunday by the General Assembly of the LAI. It is important to note that it is this community that we all live. It is this community that we are supposed to love. It is this community that we are supposed to cheer. It is this community that we are supposed to embrace. It is this community that we are supposed to work together. It is the same community that we are supposed to cherish. It is the same community that we are supposed to come together as a family, because a family is the basic part of the society. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you viewing, those with the positive notions, those with the good vibes. Keep inspired out there. Keep motivated. You still got better things to do, and it is called destiny. Thanks so much. We meet you again, and in the soonest time, we're going to deliver to you the Logan's app. And now, hats up to all of you. Thank you so much, and we out. My name is
Hey, beautiful ladies of Indianapolis. Are you looking for a beauty place where you can buy all your latest human hairs and other beauty accessories? Look no more. The MD Beauty Salon, located at 3429 Kentucky Avenue, is just that right spot for all your beauty needs. At MD's, our customers' satisfaction is our foremost priority. Our staffs are friendly and accommodating. Contact us today on 317-360-2624. MD Beauty Salon, your one-stop shop for all your beauty needs. And hey, ladies, when you get there, tell Mariette that V Girl is Calvary Tabernacle of Praise proudly presents its first ever at Calvary Conference 2022. It's gonna be inspirational. The Word of God will come with power.
The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor.
The Reverend Dr. Christopher F. Fowler and a host of other God-anointed servants will be bringing Thou Says the Lord. Remember, burdens are lifted at Calvary. I see you at Calvary Conference 2022.